Hello everyone, this is Hachiri, and we are back in FTB Interactions. Now, I have been working on a lot of things, and one thing I decided to do was to move the automation setup. So I thought we would just kind of go over it in detail, because I pretty much did it on a stream, if I remember correctly. And we never really showed off how all of this works. So first thing's the lazy AE controller. The max size is 8 by 8. And as you see, I already started the frame just so I kind of know where I want to go. But basically, you just build out the frame like so. It works like standard multi-blocks, in which you build out a giant frame of what you're doing. Kind of similar to the extreme reactors. That's one way I could think of describing this build. Is it really reminds me of setting up an extreme reactor. But you build out the frame with these assembly frames. Like so. Then the rest of it is basically these assembly vents, with the exception of one block, which we're placing right there. That's the assembly controller. And we'll deal with that here in a second. But it's a pretty simple assembly, especially if you have like a builder's wand and you can just throw it all together like so. We'll just get this wall in here and do that. Did that do all four? Perfect. And that just leaves the top here. And that basically builds out the entirety of the thing. Now, I have noticed a little quirk with it, in which for some reason I always end up with more vents than I started with when I tear it apart. I don't know why. I don't know if that's a bug with the atomic disassembler. It might very well be. Now, how you set things up inside this is basically it's an empty shell with the vents and the frame, okay? And then you just basically place your pattern providers and your coprocessors in here like so. Now, I'm doing just this for the moment. Just kind of placing them in here like here. And as you see, you can fit as many as will fit inside this. Now, once you assemble it, it doesn't work. It doesn't do anything. What you need to do is you come down to where the controller is. You just right-click the controller, and as you see, you get a message, multi-block assembled. Okay? And then, when you right-click any part of this, you now have a GUI, and you can put patterns inside of it. Like so. And that's basically how this lazy AE assembler works. This is basically an interface and a molecular assembler all in one. It's one giant block for all your assembly needs. And if you notice, I have 49 work because I have 16 coprocessors. And I have 17 pages of recipes I could put in here. Each one of those pattern providers provides, let's see, 36 recipe slots. So that's quite a bit. Just a little bit of that provided probably will handle almost all of the recipes I will ever need. So we got that set up there, which is great. we need to set up the rest of our system, because I tore it all out because I was like looking at things, looking at how I was going to need to expand stuff. And the more I looked at it, the more I realized I need to change things. Now, if you guys don't recognize this building, basically this is the old chemical building. You see I got the little racks right here. I made a pathway just to make it easier for me to access these. I have space here for a second set because honestly I don't think I'll need more than a second set for this entire project. And then we have all of our normal automation stuff right there. There will be either ramps or stairs going across here, and then I got some concrete for the sake of moving around the building. But it's a work in progress. It's a work in progress. This will probably have walls around it, but for right now we're just gonna kind of figure out what we're gonna do. Now this big long stretch here, I'm most likely going to fill with blast furnaces. And then this strip here, and most likely a good chunk under here, will be various other things. I most likely will actually only do a small section of blast furnaces here with a section of like freezers right here. Because I mean, you can fit quite a few blast furnaces in a single chunk. And depending on how we set it up, we'll probably be fine. So, with all that said, where are we going to put our automation for this? Well, I was kind of thinking that we would set it up probably, looking at everything, do I want to do it right there? I know this section is going to be blast furnaces, but maybe I'll set it up right over here. We'll have a section over there for blast, and we'll set it up like right here. Yeah, because this white part's going to be a wall. So right here will be fine. We'll start at this chunk here. Now we already know that there's going to be a wall around this white section here. I have a block there, but I'm thinking about sticking a wall around here, right here, and just having this be in its own little box. So let's get this kind of set up, and let's start it right here, I think. And we'll make adjustments as needed. All right, so there is our P2P line. And then we'll extend this as we need. So for right now, let's get the P2P line out here. And we'll just fill in the gaps. All right, so this will be for our first 32 line. Did I leave all the cable in? Oh, no, I left it. I got it right here. Do I have the P2Ps on me? I do. Alright, so we'll just go back up over here. Alright, so there's a 32 line for this automation setup. Now, we got quite a bit to set up, so let's take a look and kind of decide how we're going to do this. Now, part of the reason why I set it up with the space like I did is because of the fact that we are going to have a small bit of space here needed for things. So we're gonna set our HVCEF right there. I'm gonna plop that. That will instantly power it. And we're just gonna kind of set our line across here. And we'll start with that. Now, I am going to want a gap for the first machine just because the main line is going to be right there. And we are going to have some... Well, actually, if I do it differently, I won't need that gap. All right, we'll change it up. This right here is going to be the problem one. So we'll plop that right there. And get all this set up. Now, the important thing about this one, which is the fluid extractor, is we're going to want to set the output facing where we're going to have the volumetric interface. And we're going to want to right click it with a screwdriver so you see allow input from output side. That is very important because that means that the interface can both input and output from the same side. And that's going to be important here in a little bit. You're going to see why. So we got to limit the number of connections per line. We got 32 connections we got to deal with. So let's get all of this in place. And we will go from there. Got wire mills. We have the lathe. I'll go ahead and add these two as well. All right, so we added some new ones. So we got one, but let's count all these first. See, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 29. So we can't add any more on this line. So this is going to be a full line right here. we're going to put all these in place while we are here. So we want a volumetric on this one. Wire mills, lathe, extruder, alloy. I don't think we need volumetric on any other of these. And I may need to get more interfaces because I've added machines. So all these other ones are going to have a ton more. And yeah, I'm going to need to get more interfaces. And that's fine. I wonder if I can cheese this. Yeah. Alright, so we got those on there. Yeah, we're gonna need more inputs and more interfaces. Let's go grab the interfaces. We do have a whole bunch of those still in storage. But we will need to make more, I think, before this is done. All right, so that's all of these hooked up. Now I'm only gonna want every other set of these bottom ones. So I'll set that like so it can connect around. And then we did some wonky stuff with these and the cable. I believe it was the tops were blue. And the sides were red. I probably actually don't need this. All right. Although looking at the length of machines on this one, I kind of wonder if I could just get away with having a basic all the way across. I think I can. And that will save us some cable. Because beforehand, the two setups were right next to each other, but now they're not. So taking a look at this, I don't have over 8 channels connecting per line. And this is all going to connect via this. So we should, in theory, be good. Let's put all of this away for right now. Now the extruder, where are you? You're the lathe, you're the extruder. Extruder's sole purpose is to make small gears. Alright, we are going to need more of this, but we'll deal with that here in a little bit. Let's go and map this P to P. Now we have you mapped. You are not mapped. You are now mapped. Now if we go over here and right click that, it's mapped, it's gaining channels. Let's give it a minute. It is now online, which means here in a second, all of these are going to come online. There we go, 29 of 32 channels. So this is working out. Perfect. Now, if I take a look at these two right here, these will go inside of here, and basically that will produce our soldering alloy and our destabilized redstone. One tin ingot to tin wire. One copper. All right, so that one we won't be using. The plate we'll be using, which reminds me, taking a configuration 0 and a configuration 4 chip. That one won't be using. This one will take. Copper ingot, the copper wire will take. And we won't be doing that one just yet. So this is a bending machine. We're going to set this configuration 0. And we'll go ahead and add the plate recipe in there. This one will be configuration 4. We don't have the foil recipes yet, but we'll make it in time. This one will make our tin wire, our copper wire. This one will make our fine copper wire. So that pretty much gives us those current recipes. So we now need to make another row of this, which means I need to make another CEF. Let's see what we're missing. We're pretty much missing everything. All right. Soon this will all be automated. I believe you're my 8. Let's pull the glass out of there. Just slap it down for now. All right, so now we're just missing the gold and the other cable. So do I have enough red alloy to? Yes. I only need 32 of this, so. And then we have our stack. And did I remember to make that flex point? Yep. Cool. I believe we have everything else, so that should be all we need for right now. Let's get rid of those. Oh, wait. I do need a couple more importers. Should be enough for the remaining machines. Okay. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to want at least 2 to 3 space. Actually, let's set it right here. Now, given the nature of this one I will actually have a space between this. And I will need this because these ones are going to be volumetric. Ooh, actually, work around. Because I do need this connected. So I can place that like right there, and that will connect that. And then I can keep the same spacing. need you and you for right now. P tunnel. All right. And that sets up the volumetric flasks. And the same thing, we're going to have... I don't have enough. Well, probably be okay. Alright, so we got that there, and we're gonna put red here, blue here for right now. And colorless across the top. And that right there will hook up the current assemblers. We'll probably be adding more machines, but this will set up the initial. And we're gonna need a 0, an 8, and a 24. And we'll let this one be the 24. This one the 8. This one be the 0. I think there's another one that requires like a configuration of 1, and there's some that require other configurations, but those are one-offs, and I'll probably end up having to manually craft a lot of that stuff. We'll see. The 1 configuration I may end up adding as a automation, to be perfectly honest. All right, so let's get this one paired up. The internal of this green has been my favorite so far for pairing things. Let's take a look. You're paired already. You're not. So that is now the last one for that internal, which is great. Actually, I could probably just do it from back here. There we go. And all of these should be coming online shortly. 32 channels. They're all doing their channel assigning. We I have 8 of 32. Ah. That ended up being a bite in my butt after all. I did not realize it would go through it. Let's give it a minute to reassign channels. And it broke again. Because it's pathing through there. Oh! This ain't gonna work. I'm gonna have to make more red cable. And more blue cable. This has to be completely separated. That ain't gonna work. And then the dense. Can I? Nope. All right, let's go make a little more red and blue cable real quick. Good news is once I have this set up, I can just craft more cable. All right, so there's the blue. We're gonna put the red here. And we're gonna stick a red right here because that's where it belongs. That separates all of those channels. And now if I add the filler here, it's not gonna overload the channels. And now we have 13 of 32. 4, 4, 4, 1. Yep. All right, cool. All right, so circuits are in place. So this is for copper cable that go in the 24. Glass cable goes in the 0. Covered cable goes in the 24. And with that, our automation should be back online. I think I'm going to change a recipe. I'm going to change this one because this one uses a lot of glowstone and redstone. But because we have two different ways of getting this, you have this way, or you can get it from the dents. Okay, you can get 4 from the dents. And if you notice, it's just a covered cable and 2 of those. So if we clear this recipe and we go up here, and we take this one, as our pattern, we'll be able to save on redstone and glowstone because it's still making 4 at a time. So it's using the same amount, but in here it's only using 1 redstone and 1 glowstone. So that will allow us to basically get more cable for our redstone and glowstone usage. And I believe I made enough flasks for this. If I put it in here, oh, craftable. All right, apparently there was enough dents. That's not a problem. And yeah, I got enough of this to craft it all, so we'll do that as well. And then if we look at our crafting things here, we got that one crafting those, and it looks like the other one's already finished. So, cool. So we moved our automation. We got that set up. We can start doing a few other things now. Let's go to this terminal and then let's go to the stainless small gear here. Now it's saying we want that. We don't want that in this one. We're just doing a processing pattern. We got stainless gear here. So we'll take that. We're also going to do the same for the other ones as well. Got that pattern. Let's go with this next. So there's a stainless steel plate. We have the lathe recipe. And then we have that. We will make a recipe for this once we finish getting all the parts. But for right now, we're just gonna go with that. So the piston will go in here. The lathe recipe will go in here. The extruder will go right there. Stainless steel plate will go there. And that will give us what we need to make pistons. So like if I typed in piston and I went to craftable, let's say I want 2 pistons. It takes a look at everything, sees what we got, and I just click start and it will make everything for the piston. And just like that, we have 2 pistons. Now, one thing I do want to show off is crafting with volumetric real quick before we end this episode. Let's go ahead and get that done. And we'll do that with making the gold cable. Okay. So first we're going to kind of clear this. We're going to go to processing. And we're going to do gold wire first. Okay, so we have the gold wire recipe. Next, gonna kind of right click this, go to assembler, cable. And we see this recipe here. 144 rubber is what it's gonna require. So we got that there. We don't need this, but one thing we do need is we need a 144 flask of liquid rubber, like so. We're going to take that, and that will be right there, okay? And essentially, what this does is the volumetric interface, when it sees one of these flasks in there, it automatically creates the flask, puts it in the machine, and puts the flask back in the system. So, just as an example, we have so many flasks of it, but am I going the right one? I'm lost in my own base. That's north. I need to go this way. We essentially you are, yep, this is the right one. Okay, cold wire. So essentially these volumetric flasks in a way save us time because we don't have to bucket the fluids in. This block will fill any flask that you don't have a recipe for from the fluids in the system. So like things like soldering alloy and destabilized redstone, I don't have that automatically being created. But this will take things like rubber and such that I do have automatically being created and just make it for me. So that finished all of what it was processing. So we're now just gonna real quick just make a bundle of gold cable just to kind of show you how it works. And I'm gonna also flask, just kind of show something here. Now I have 63 144 flasks. This is important, okay, and I'll show you why. So we have one of rubber, which is fine. But if I wanted to craft gold cable, and I wanted 64 of it, it's fine. We have one available, we need to craft, we have 63, okay? But say I wanted to do 2 stacks of it. I can't. I don't have enough flasks. So you need to have as many flasks in the system as you're going to use for the recipe you're doing. Now, normally this wouldn't be a problem, except for when you're doing bulk. And fortunately, if you have things set up to automatically keep inventories, you can control how much it does in a run so that you always have that number of flasks. Or you can just do what I'm starting to do, and you can just create a metric ton of fucking flasks. Like, I have 800 of these 36 MB flasks because I use them for so many different recipes. I'm going to make a crap ton of the 144 flasks. I'm going to make a crap ton of the 100. A crap ton of the 72. I'm going to make a whole lot of, like, the bucket size ones and everything else. It's just part of the automation. But once you make a set amount of those, generally you're not going to need to make any more. That's going to be all you're going to need to make. And you'll generally be fine. Now, one more thing we're going to do. Because we did the gold thing, we're going to show off what this level maintainer actually does. Now, this isn't going to be its permanent placement where I'm going to put this. This is more just so you guys can see it. So I'm just going to kind of plop it at the end here. And basically, you have the amount to maintain and the crafting batch size. So amount to maintain, well, 128. Crafting batch size, 64. I can't make more than 64. So we'll go with 64. And actually, let's go ahead and do 512. Well, not 512. That's too much. Yeah, 128 is pretty good for that. All right. So it needs to keep 128 in at all times. Okay? Now, it's probably already done that. It may have already crafted so that we have 128 in there. Yeah, it's already done it. But what we're going to do is we're going to take 32 out. And we're going to go to our machine here. And as you see, it's already crafting 32. So what this will be good for is maintaining certain inventory levels of cable, circuits, etc. That's what that block is for. And it does it automatically. It's actually really good at handling that. And that's how we will be building our automated factory as we progress, is I'll actually have a whole bunch of those. And we'll just constantly keep them in stock, circuits and everything. And it'll just work. Except it will actually work. It won't be like Bethesda's It Just Works. So, with that, I think we'll end this episode. We've moved our automation. And we went over how to automate with volumetric flasks, how to automate with AE. Next episode, I'm going to have the blast furnaces built, and I'll show you how to automate that with volumetric flasks, because that's something that I'm sure a lot of people are like, well, how am I going to do this, because I can only hit one specific spot with this. And I'll show you how that is handled, and that will be in the next episode. I'm going to spend some time building all the parts for that, so you guys don't have to see me like grinding for hours making coils and stuff. But for now, we will end this here. Next one, we'll go over our blast furnace automation and probably automating making of these disks, just so I can start filling up my disk drives. That'd be nice. So with that, have a wonderful day, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.